tell you the thinking behind this. I grew up in the 1980s, but I wasn't into the music of the day. Instead, I listened to the music of the 60s and 70s, but particularly because I was a piano player, electric piano players like Ray Manzarek, Herbie Hancock, Richard T, Joseph Zawinul. And I've always loved these classic vintage instruments. However, from a very early age, I had a fantasy, and that was starting with a suitcase piano, which I adore. Has a beautiful round belly quality to it, and actually gets very aggressive when you want it to in the lower region. But when you get up here, it has a slightly Mickey Mouse quality to it, or it's certainly very belly. However, with this electric piano, the one that starts with a W, its bottom end has a slightly growly, less attractive quality, but when you hit it hard, even, it gives you some oomph. Another problem with the suitcase players, for us stride players, is it really lacks in fat bottom end. Fortunately, there is an instrument that was made famous by a guy called Ray Manzarek, the keyboard player from The Doors. The Doors were a Californian band from the 1960s who didn't have a bass player, so they used one of these. Finally, there's a beautiful quality to the suitcase piano in its mid-range, that belly, warm quality, that, as I said, gets a bit Mickey Mousey up there, and in the one that starts with W, isn't a particularly pleasant sound. So I've never really played electric pianos very high up, until I found this on the internet. It's an electric Celeste, one of only two made, of which this is the prototype. Fast forward to today. I've been sampling instruments for 25 years, and with a complete collection, I can finally realise my dream of the perfect electric piano, centred around the suitcase, with the one that starts with W on the very highest dynamic layer, super fat low end, beautiful and incredibly rare top end. And this is how we came up with the idea for the Imperial electric piano, because it has a longer range than your standard electrics. We named it after the Bosendorfer Imperial. So you can really hear the difference in the roundness between the two. You've got this super fat, beautiful. You can hear when I hit that, you can hear the one that starts with W coming through. And when you push it, you don't have the Mickey Mousing, but it's also so beautiful up here. So let's get into the GUI. The first thing you'll see is this arrow here. This enables you to select the three different configurations we've done. One is the Imperial, which is all four pianos. The next is just the suitcase piano, that one on its own. Just stunning. Followed by Imperial Vintage, which is just basically the bass one and the Harry Potter one up there, and it sounds incredible. I mean, just so round. You've also got a big bunch of presets that you can go into here, and what's really cool is you can select the different, I guess, rack presets almost, the different effects setups, and then scroll through the different configurations. They're independent of each other. What's more, you can also save and load your own presets. We've curated a set of effects from our favourite classic electric piano sounds. So we've got our wobble, which is basically a tremolo. Let's put it halfway. Just gives a little bit of motion. As with all of our Crow Hill projects, we try and make it so you can never make it sound horrible. So even when you turn it up full, it's a very useful sound. In another life, I was a touring musician. So for me, the absolute key with this GUI is it's roadworthy. So you can jump on and just twist a knob all the way. And the feel of this, it's just so super responsive. The wobble will sync to your door host tempo, and you can change the subdivisions with this little arrow here. 1978 is, I sent Cam, who's done an amazing job with Kieran developing this instrument, and I sent him a recording of it. It was from 8:30, Weather Report Live, Joseph Zawinul, and I said, we need that effect, and I think it's a phaser, which is very subtle, halfway up. Has a kind of sexy feel to it. But all the way up, you get the full Zawinul experience. Oh, I'm out of practice. I never use that finger, and you play someone else's riff, and inevitably they do, because why not make use of all 10? Echo, multi-tap stereo, locks to your host tempo, and splosh, aka reverb, which becomes all kind of useful when we move on to the big dial to the left, which has Japanese symbols for filth or dirt, a big filthy knob, which is, we thought we'd call it that and then thought better of it. So basically this is its home position, which is our mix of the Imperial. Now if you turn it more to the left, you get more of the Tines. Let me turn it all the way so you can really hear them. The electric piano is an electroacoustic instrument. It uses these tines, which are basically very, very similar to tuning forks. And in fact, these pianos were inspired by an invention made in Glasgow called the dulcitone, which was a tuning fork piano. You plug these in like you would a guitar. Two of these pianos are passive, these are active. So basically, let me take off the DI signal. You can hear it's actually making a noise, but like an electric guitar, it's very quiet, and it uses pickups like an electric guitar to give you your DI'd signal. But there's a lovely mechanical quality about the tines and the hammers hitting them. So we decided that we'd use two RE20s. The reason for that is my neighbours are tiling their roof at the moment, so we wanted something that really had a very direct image to give you a nice stereo spread as well. Lovely up at the top end there. We recorded the tines for the three main instruments, so you can just dial that up or down as you please. Now, when we take the dial the other way, things start to get a bit more squalid. And that, for me, is the theme of Filth as a range, is to combine beauty and utter squalor. So back to our home position. Nice mixture of aggressive and beautiful. But as we start turning it up, it starts breaking up. And basically what's happening is it's going into a tweed 15-watt little amp and kind of just pushing it. If you don't really hear it like that, but if you go, you can hear it starting to create those wonderful harmonics that make it more audible over your band members. This is almost at full. And it's very believable to me. I often find distortions in the digital domain just a little bit suspect. But if you take it all the way, it starts to get very filthy indeed. Listen to that. Even feeds back, and if you let it ring out, But I'm really interested to hear what it sounds like with the really mellow vintage ones. Has an almost kind of organ-like quality. And because it would be rude not to, I can vouch for this as a very roadworthy piece of kit for any of you who use stuff like, oh, what's that Apple thing, Mainstage, stuff like that. Our plugin is rock solid, and this thing will bite you back. It's so responsive. So I hope you touring musicians enjoy that. But I'm looking forward to getting into all of the wonderful and diverse ways in which you can use electric pianos, but not any electric piano, my dream electric piano that I've been dreaming of since I started playing them when I was probably about 16 or 17. So thanks for watching to the end, and to find out more information, check out the video description down below. If you'd like to subscribe, that would really help us. We're a young startup, so subscriptions are our lifeblood, and ding that bell to be notified the next time you want to watch one of our videos. One of those, much appreciated. And tell me, who are your favourite electric keyboardists? For me, it's Richard T. Zawinul, Herbie Hancock, and of course, Ray Manzarek. What about you?